Classifications of environmental sounds. As noted by Justin Winkler, a researcher of sound media, time and space are key dimensions in the sound world that mutually define each other. The sound landscape captures rhythms that exist not only in the audible, but also in the infrasound range, connecting the objective structure of sound with individual perception. The term geography of time emphasizes the influence of temporal process of information of a sound environment, from daily human activity and cycles to seasonal changes in nature and rhythms of urban life. In these systems, not only sounds themselves are significant, but also the moments of their occurrence. Rhythmic shifts, pauses, repetitive motifs, and random events act as important markers that determine the character of a landscape and form a unique perception of a surrounding space. Thanks to this approach, it becomes possible to consider the sound environment as a multidimensional structure, where each element, from cued backgrounds to pronounced accents, affects emotional and cognitive perception. Researchers in the field of acoustic ecology have conducted large-scale empirical studies of sound and soundscapes. Based on field recordings and analysis of acoustic media, Schaeffer and Trois proposed one of the first systems for classification sounds according to their functional significance. Schaeffer identifies four main categories. First, basic sounds, the background sound of the environment, including wind, water, birdsong, urban noise. These elements form the tonal contour of the soundscapes, are usually perceived unconsciously but significantly affect the feeling of space. Beeps sounds that attract attention, such as sirens, bells, or beeps. In the urban environment, they act as auditory markers of warning signals, and modern technologies allow them to be created electronically. Third, sound signs are specific sounds that are significant for a particular community. It can be the sound of church bells, street musical instruments, or local audio recording that are read only by those who are familiar with the cultural context. Finally, sound romance. Nostalgic or emotionally colored sounds associated with personal or collective memory. For example, the sound of surf, creaking floorboards, cries of seagulls, which refer to the disappearing or lost acoustic reality. To systemize the perception of these elements, the EICO standard was developed where the soundscape is considered as a perceptual construct. The standard includes visual diagrams demonstrating the relationship between types of sound and their perception, which allows for a deeper analysis of the acoustic environment taking into account cultural and sensory experience. Benny Krause proposed an alternative approach to classification sound sources, identifying three main categories. First, geophony. Sounds created by natural but non-biological sources. This includes the rustle of the wind in the foliage, the sound of streams, surf, and similar natural phenomena. These sounds accompany all forms of sound sensitivity life on the planet and form the acoustic background of the environment. Second type, biophony. Sound generated by living beings with the exception of humans. This includes the vocalization of birds, the chirping of insects, footsteps, or flapping of wings, all live acoustic that occur in a natural environment. Anthropophony, third type. Sounds produced by humans. These are not only speech and music, but also everyday or spontaneous noises, coughing, sneezing, clapping, grinding, or machinery honking of vehicles and other manifestation of human activity. The proposed apology makes it possible to more accurately describe the structure of a soundscape and analyze the interaction of various sources in a common acoustic environment, which is important for studying of ecological, cultural, and compositional features of sound space. The perception of a soundscape is significantly influenced by the environment in which it occurs. The distance to the source is important, whether it's a passing person or moving car, as well as the acoustic properties of the space, including reverberation, delays, and echo. Additional factors shaping perception include temperature, uh, which transmits the atmosphere of the weather, the raw acoustic vibrations, and the mass of objects such as vehicles affecting the air and the surrounding surfaces. In some cases, the nature of place is determined not only by physical parameters but also by the emotional components, voice and noises, crying, laughing, shouting, create a certain atmosphere transmitting information about events and what is happening in this space. So, this classification of a soundscape emphasizes that space is a kind of composition can be consciously designed and organized. The global soundscape can be considered as a macrocosmic musical score by Schaeffer. The soundscape acts as an independent object of research, which makes it possible to analyze it like a musical score. It should be borne in mind that architectural, social, cultural, and aesthetic aspects often remain outside the scope of such an analysis. Although they significantly affect the perception of the sound environment.